Muy bien, Arshad. Muy bien, muy bien. Guys, today's Thursday. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? See? See. Mia, what say you? How do we fill in the blank? Brooklyn, have I heard from you on this? How do we fill in the blank? And then tell me if it's a reflexive verb or not. Arshad is a senior and ready to graduate, right, Arshad? I'm trying to fix my footstool here. Isn't that right, Arshad? All right, Brooklyn, what do you say? How do we conjugate this verb? And do you think it's reflexive? Good morning, Marlasia. Come on, you guys, wakey, wakey. We are now 4 minutes into class. I still need a couple of answers from you. Buenos dias. Okay, so let's talk about what I got going on behind me. Okay, so remember that we've been talking about, like, I'll just use the word to take a bath, bañarse, bañarse, right? And we said, why do these verbs have this reflexive pronoun se at the end, right? Because it's something that we do to ourselves, right? Or like cepillarse, right? To brush one's hair, or to brush one's, how you say, what was it, ourselves, right? Our own hair, right? Yo me cepillo el pelo, right? I'm brushing my own hair. Tú te cepillas tu pelo, your hair. You brush your own hair, right? That's why when we did our vocab list, you guys, I wanted to make sure that that you included in the definition of those words ourselves, right? To ourself, to oneself, right? Because what makes something different, this is why we're spending time on this, what makes these different is that we are doing the action to ourselves, not to somebody else. So let's look at what I have up here. We have el barbero, which of course is the barber. Cortar, right, is to cut. El pelo, right, de su cliente. So we want to say here, the barber cuts the client's hair, okay, or his client's hair. So if you said corta, C-O-R-T-A, you're absolutely right, because it's an AR verb, and our singular endings would be O, AS, and A. So el corta, right, with an A. So then, is it reflexive? Well, there's two clues here. Can anybody find me a clue that tells me that this is not reflexive? What is one clue that tells me it is not reflexive? Cortar. Is this reflexive or not? What is one clue? How would this word look if I was cutting my own hair, or if one was cutting their own hair? How would this look? What would I need to have on the end of this word, cortar? No, that would be if, yes, but I can cut my hair, right? Or I can cut my client's hair. Isn't that right? So in this example, the barber is not cutting his own hair. He is cutting the client's hair, right? Meaning it's not reflexive because the action is happening to somebody else. The other person is getting their hair cut, right? But if I'm cutting my own hair, right, you guys, if I'm cutting my own hair, what is the reflexive pronoun? Let me try and refresh your memory. Okay, take a look at my screen. Yes, that's it, Brooklyn. Okay, so take a look at my screen, you guys. These were our vocab notes, right? So notice that all of these verbs end in what, right? These were our pronouns, right? Me, te, se, nos, and se. So if you see, when you have a verb, there you go, that ends in an S-E, right? I put myself to bed, right? One puts themselves to bed. One shaves oneself, right? One gives oneself a bath. One brushes one's hair, okay? One gives themselves a shower versus doing those things to somebody else, right? And that's the difference, you guys. That's what we're talking about here. That's what makes these reflexive verbs. They're not just verbs, right? Okay. It's verbs that we do to ourselves and not to somebody else. So the example behind me is that the barber is cutting the little boy's hair, right? Not his own hair. And therefore, it is not reflexive. Now, can we make it reflexive? What do you think? Can we make it a reflexive verb? Can we take cortar and make it reflexive? What do you think? Can we, in this instance, you guys, can we cut our own hair? Yes or no? Yes. So the answer is yes, we can take this verb and make it reflexive, and it would be cortarse, right? And then if I'm cutting my own hair, the pronoun for yo is me, right? And so I would say yo me corto el pelo, right? I'm cutting my own hair. Or you're cutting your own hair. Tú te cortas tu pelo. You are cutting your own hair, right? So that pronoun se that we change, we've talked about changing, right? Tells us who is receiving the action. So not only who's doing the action, but who is receiving the action, right? We cut our own hair, you guys, ourselves. We cut our own hair. If you can see my screen. So nosotros nos cortamos el pelo, right? We cut our own hair. So we have to decide, right? Whoever's received, not only doing the action, but receiving the action. That's what makes it reflexive, right? It's like looking in the mirror. Okay, it's like looking in the mirror. And so, having said that, I got a little froggy behind me. Probably can't see it. Take a look at my screen. Right? He's looking at himself in the mirror. Right? It's reflecting. That's why they call it reflexive. Back onto ourselves. Okay, or whoever it is. if we're doing something to ourselves. Okay, so reflecting, reflexive. We have to be cutting our own hair. We have to be shaving ourselves. We have to be putting our own makeup on or whatever. Okay, not doing it to somebody else, because we can do all of those things to somebody else as well, right? Okay, so hoy, clase, continuemos a practicar con los verbos reflexivos. So I need everybody's attention. That's why, yeah, this is tricky stuff. So we're going to do a lot of practice today. First thing that we're going to do, though, is, if we have to know what they mean, right? To make sure that we know how to use them, or before we know how to use them. So I am going to put a link in the chat. And we're going to, this will be a real quick exercise. So I need for you to click on the link in the chat and join me quickly. Okay, join me in the Nearpod real quick. Okay, I have Arshad, Marlesia, Jamarian, Malia, and Brooklyn. Where are you? There you go. Okay. All right. So it's real simple, right? We've done this before. I'm going to read you a word, and we're going to practice the meaning of these reflexive verbs. And you can either draw me a picture, or you can find me an image, and then, thank you, Brooklyn. And then just pop it in to show me, right, that you know what these mean. Okay. And don't go to Google, don't do nothing, right? These things are like feedback, not only for you, or not only for me, but for you, right? So that you can gauge what you know and what you don't know, right? And how much you need to maybe spend some time trying to memorize these words or something, right? So it's for your own feedback as well. Okay, so let's not rely on an outside resource. Okay, so here's our first one. Let's say I'll do the first one together. Let's say I give you the word bañarse. Bañarse. I'm going to add an image. I know what it means, right? To take a bath. Literally, to give myself a bath, right? So I can just pick a picture. I'll just pick a picture. It doesn't matter which one. Okay. So that shows the teacher, I know that bañarse means that I'm giving myself a bath, to give oneself a bath, right? All right. And then I can erase it. Okay. All right. So you no need to submit anything. Okay. Any questions about what we're doing? Okay. So here's our first one. Let's do acostarse. 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 Now you can use your vocab list. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want you Googling. You got to get out of that habit. Okay. Acostarse. You can draw a picture or you can find a picture. It doesn't matter to me. Good, Arshad. Good, Malia. Acostarse. Again, you can use your vocab list. Marion, what do you say, Marlasia? Acostarse. Alrighty, if you said that you lay yourself down, like you get ready for bed, you lay down, then you're absolutely right. Okay. Because dormirse is literally like to put yourself to sleep. Dormir, right? But acostarse is like to lay yourself down. So it can be on a couch even, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be in a bed. Okay. Muy bien. All right. Erase all. And I'll give you the next one. All right, let's try lavarse. Lavar, lavarse. Lavarse. Lavarse las manos. Lavarse la cara. Lavarse el pelo. Very good, Malia. Muy bien, Arshad. Marleisha, muy bien. Jamarian Brooke. Sí, Jamarian, muy bien. Lavarse la cara. Sí. Sí, Brooke. So, yes, lavarse el pelo, right? Con el jabón with soap. Sí, muy bien. Okay. Good job, you guys. Erase all. How about vestirse? Vestirse. Vestirse con la ropa. Vestirse con una chaqueta. Vestirse con los zapatos. Los tenis. Vestirse con una camiseta o una camisa. Con los pantalones. Very good, Arshad. Brooke. Vestirse con un sombrero, una chaqueta. Muy bien, Malia. Good job. All right, yeah. I can't see that, Marlesia. What is that? Let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. To get dressed, right? To dress oneself. Vestirse, right? To dress oneself. All right. One more. Erase that one and let's do one more. Now you're going to have to be specific about this image. Okay. Let's try levantarse. Yesterday we talked about a magician using the word levitate. Levantarse. What's that mean? Levantarse. That's a hard one. Very good, Brooke. Levantarse. Very good, Arshad. Jamarian, muy bien. Malia? What is happening there? Let me see. See, very good. That's a good picture. Okay. Very good, Malaysia. That's right. So getting up, right? And again, you can get up out of a chair. You can get up out of bed. You can lift yourself up into the attic. I don't know, whatever, right? So lifting yourself up, right? Absolutely. Okay. Muy bien, muy bien. Okay, so let's back out of our Nearpod. That's good. Muy bien. And the next thing that I want us to do is I'm going to put some slides up, and I want us to focus on those pronouns. In other words, we just said that if we add a se at the end of a verb, it means that that we're doing the action to ourselves. But we know that the word se has to change depending upon who is doing the action, right? So I want us to focus on that a little bit, and then I have a couple of activities for us, okay? All right, let me make this big. All right, so let's take a look up here. And can y'all give me a thumbs up if you can see this, okay? Gracias. All right, so our example here is lavarse, right? Lavarse, to wash oneself, okay? And it says reflexive verbs. Remember, we're talking about reflecting back onto ourselves, right? That's why they're called reflexive, because it's reflecting back onto ourselves. Reflexive verbs are conjugated or changed with a pronoun, me, te, se, nos, os, or se. So me is going to match here, you guys, with yo, right? It's like I and me, right? Or I wash myself. Myself. We know in English, myself goes with I. We know that me goes with I, right? So that's what we have to learn here, myself, okay? Tú is you. Tú te lavas. You wash yourself. So me is myself. Te is yourself. Y'all get this picture? Yeah? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you get it, right? Okay, if we're saying he and she, he washes himself. She washes herself. You following me here, you guys? And then usted, because usted means you, okay? Usted se lava can also mean you are washing yourself. Usted se lava. Thank you, Brooklyn. In a formal sense, right? So this se is kind of multi-purpose, right? We wash ourselves. We wash ourselves. So nos is ourself. We don't do vosotros, but it's os, okay? And then they wash themselves, okay? You all wash yourselves. Okay, I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. Myself, yourself, his self, herself, ourself, them, their self, right? Themself. I don't even know the English word, okay? Now, where do they go? They can go either number one in front of the verb, like yo me lavo, I wash myself. Or if we have two verbs, the first verb is always the one that's going to be conjugated or changed. And so since this is in the infinitive, we just keep that reflexive pronoun at the end of the word. And if I need to make it negative, no me lavo. Okay. No quiero lavarme. So remember, the no always comes in front, right? Okay, any questions about what these mean, right, you guys? So do you see the equivalent to English? I wash myself, you wash yourself, he washes himself, she washes herself, we wash ourselves, they wash themselves, okay? Right? Okay, let's go on. All right. So let's see if we can figure these out. Okay. ¿Qué hace Julia? Let's pretend there's a Julia here. ¿Qué hace Julia? What does Julia do? Ella se levanta. So here's my question for you. Why do we use se? Why do we use se here? Why don't we use me or te or nos? Why do we use se here? What do you think? Pop in the chat. Yep, Brooklyn. That's a good answer. Anybody else? Or you can unmute, whatever you guys want. I need to know. Jo Marion, can you explain to me, why do we use se? Why do we say she gets up? Ella se levanta. Why don't we use me, or why don't we use te in response to que hace Julia or Julia? Marleisha, what do you think? Mia, what do you think? Give me some feedback, you guys. I don't care if you have the right answer. I just need to know that you're thinking about it. Very good, Mia. Anybody else? Rashad, what do you think? Marleisha, what say you? Yeah, very good. So because it's ella, right? And that's she. So we need to say she gets herself up, right? And so that's what the say is, means herself. Okay. So ella matches, they have to match, right? She's doing it to herself. Okay. All right. So let's practice using like the verbs. Okay. So let's look at number 1. So if I say to you, ¿Qué hace Estela? Okay, well, she's putting her makeup on, right? So I would say, ella se maquilla, right? Ella se maquilla, because maquillarse is our verb to put makeup on. Ella se maquilla, right? Okay, what about Santiago? What's he doing? What is Santiago doing? Let's start there. He's brushing his teeth. So what is our verb for brushing our teeth? What's our verb for brushing our teeth, somebody? Okay. Cepillarse. What are teeth? Los what? Think dentures or dentist. What are teeth, you guys? Cepillarse what? Los dientes. Okay. So cepillarse los dientes. So, ¿qué hace Santiago? ¿Qué hace Santiago? L, right, with the accent mark. Se cepilla los dientes. Okay, so let's look at what I did, right? We have to make sure that we conjugate the verb correctly. Cepillar, which we practiced yesterday. We did AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. So Santiago se cepilla los dientes. He brushes his own teeth. Himself, right? His own teeth. So we use se. All right, let's sneak down here to Hugo. Okay, I'm on number 6. Hugo. Clase, ¿qué hace Hugo? What's the action? What's he doing? ¿Qué hace Hugo? Marianne, I haven't heard from you in a minute. ¿Qué hace Hugo? Brooklyn, what's he doing? Starts with the letter A. Yes, he's shaving himself. So what's our Spanish word? Yes, muy bien. Yes, so afeitarse, right? Afeitarse. So, ¿qué hace Hugo? How would I say he's shaving himself? ¿Qué hace Hugo? He's shaving himself. L, right, with the accent mark. Then what? He's shaving himself. Okay. So remember what we do. Okay. We have to say se. And then if our verb is afeitar, which is a regular AR verb, if it's L, it's OASA, L se afeita. He shaves himself, or he is shaving himself. Él se afeita. Right? Okay. One more. Let's do number 3. Matías, clase. I want to hear from everyone in a sentence. ¿Qué hace Matías? I'm on number 3 up here. ¿Qué hace Matías? Washing his hands, right? So tell me in Spanish in a sentence. ¿Qué hace Matías? Okay. How do we say hands? Because it's, if we say he's washing himself, that means he's taking a bath or something, right? Okay. Good. Anybody else? All right, good. So we're saying he, L, and since he's doing it to himself, we're going to do se. And then our verb is lavar. And so I'm going to take off the AR and add my ending, el se lava, because that's the ending that goes with L. And then what is he washing? Las manos, right? Las manos. El se lava las manos. He's washing the hands, literally, because that's how they say it in Spanish. All right, any questions here? So give me a 3, 2, 1. How do you feel about this whole putting these things together, these sentences together? Give me a 3, I got it. 2, I'm confused. 1, I have no idea. Give me a 3, 2, 1. 2 is I'm confused. 3 is I got it. 1 is I have no idea, I'm lost. Okay. Let's see what time it is here. Okay. All right. Before we go on, thank you for that. I have a song for us. Now, you're going to go, oh, heck, right? She's got a song for us. But this one is going to give us or show us some steps. And I want you to pay attention to these steps because I'm going to mention them. You're going to need them, right? And these steps are going to help us figure out how to make these sentences just like we've been doing. Okay. So if you answered me a 2, that you're still confused, hopefully this song will give us the strategy, right? The steps to figure it out. Okay. All right. So let me load up here. and make sure that you can see my screen, make sure that you can hear, and please, you guys, make sure that that you pay attention to the steps, okay? And we'll probably watch this more than
graceful hues. We invite you.
A reflexive verb in Spanish ends in say. First you gotta get the say out of the way. Then the verb you have to change, and the say you rearrange, and the say becomes me, te, no, so, say. A reflexive verb in Spanish ends in say. First you gotta get the say out of the way. Then the verb you have to change, and the say you rearrange, and the say becomes me, te, no, so, say.
Okay, so what's the first step he says here? What do you have to do?
A reflexive verb in Spanish ends in say. First you gotta get the say out of the way.
Okay, so first we got to get the say out of the way, right? So we're going to make a sentence. We're speaking, we're writing, whatever. We need to get the say out of the way.
Then the verb you have to change.
Okay, then depending upon what the verb is, we have to conjugate it. So if it's an AR verb like we practiced, OASA almosan, right? If it's an ER or an IR verb, OESE MOSN, right? Okay, so then we conjugate the verb. Then we have to
And the say you
rearrange. So we put the say in front, okay, of the verb.
and the say becomes me, te, no, so, say.
And then we have to figure out what is it? Who's doing the action to themselves? Am I doing it to myself? Yo me siento. If you're sitting yourself down, tú te, right? If it's he or she, él se or ella se, sienta in this case. Okay, so 4 steps, you guys, right? We get the say out of the way. We conjugate the verb. We rearrange the say. And then we have to change it. Is it me, te, se, nos, or se, right? For plural. So watch again.
Then the verb you have to change, and the say you rearrange, and the say becomes me, te, no, so, say.
One more time.
A reflexive verb in Spanish ends in say. First you gotta get the say out of the way. Then the verb you have to change, and the say you rearrange, and the say becomes me, te, no, so, say.
Okay. All right. Those are our 4 steps, you guys. Get the say out of the way. Change the verb. Put the say where you need it. And then change the say, right? You decide if you need to use mete, os, or mete, nos, or se. All right. So let's practice.
A reflexive verb in Spanish.
Let's practice. All right. Okay, I need everybody to take a look at my screen. Por favor. So this says, escribe la forma correcta del pronombre se. So we are focusing only on the pronoun because we already have here, you guys, we already have our verb. Okay. So all we're doing is putting in either me, te, se, nos, or se. Everybody clear with that? So we have to be able to identify like the clues, right? So our clues can either be the subject or the form of the verb, whichever. Okay. So for number 1, you guys, for number 1, what would I put in the blank? Pop it in the chat. Okay, good Malia, good Marlasia, Arshad, Brooke, and Jomarian. What do I put in the blank for number 1, numero uno? How would I change the say? The say has to change here. Nope, we're just doing pronouns. We're not changing the verb. The verb is already there and done. We just need to know what pronoun. Who is doing this action to themselves, right? Good, Jomarian. Very good. Yeah, so if it's nosotros, nos. Okay, so we wake ourselves up early. We wake ourselves up. We get ourselves up. Okay, all right. Number 2, número 2. Carlos y Felipe, ducharse is our verb, shower, for the morning, in the morning. So what do I do? Good, Marlasia. Good, Malia. Good, Jomarian. Arshad, what do you say? Yeah, so if it's Carlos y Felipe would be the same as saying they, right? Ellos. Okay, and it's plural. So we know that we can only choose one of these because these are our only plural choices over here. So if it's not nosotros, it has to be what? Say, right? Because it would be, we're talking about Carlos and Felipe. All right, good job. Okay, let's do number 3. Número 3. Arshad, what would you do for número 3? Good, very good, Brooklyn. Very good, Marlasia. Jomarian, muy bien. Good, Malia. So our clue, of course, is levantan or ustedes here, right? And so ustedes gets se, right? So when do you all wake yourselves up, or when do you all get yourselves up? Okay. All right, número 4. We're not going to do all of these, but we are going to do número 4. What do you think? Good, Arshad. Good, Malia. Good, Marlasia. Good, Brooklyn. Good, Marion, what say you? Número 4. Very good, you guys. Good job. So you wash your own hands in the tub, right? Tú te lavas las manos. You wash your own hands. Okay. All right, let's skip down here to number 6, clase. Yep. Yep. Because it's I, and so I'm brushing my own teeth, right, you guys? And so yo me cepillo los dientes. Now think about this again, you guys. Reflexive means it's like reflecting on back onto the person. So we have to be doing those actions to ourselves. So think about like, if you're a parent, you're going to bathe your child. You're not bathing yourself. You're going to bathe your child, or if you have a dog, maybe you give the dog a bath, in which case that's not reflexive, right? In which case you can say, yo baño a mi niña, right? I'm bathing my child. Okay. I'm not going to use a reflexive pronoun there. Okay. So things to think about. Reflexive means it reflects back onto the person. Okay, who's doing the action. All right, any questions there? I'm gonna stop there real quick. Okay. All right, how you feeling now? Any better now or no? Three, two, one. Feeling any better now? Okay. Well, I'm gonna up it up. I'm gonna up the ante a little bit. Okay. And here's what we're gonna do. Let's take a look at this. What we have up here. So these are in English. And let's look at our examples. I wake up means yo me levanto, right? I get up. I'm doing this to myself. Yo me levanto. Like, so I could say I get up at 4 o'clock. Yo me levanto a las 4, right? I wake up at 4. Or you wake up. Tú te levantas. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give each of you one sentence, or I'm going to let you all pick which one you want to do, whichever. And you'll put it in the chat in Spanish, and then we'll see how it goes. If you want to read your sentence out loud, that's what I prefer, but it's up to you. Okay. Do you have one that you want to do as opposed to me assigning you one? Just let me know. Put the number in chat. Which one do you want to do? Okay. Joe Marion. Joe Marion, you got number 2. Okay. Marlacia has got number 7. Brooklyn's got number 10. Arshad and Mia. You have a choice. Arshad, I'm going to give you number 3. And Mia, let's do number 10. No, we got that one. Number 8. All right, Joe Marion 2, Marlacia 7, Brooklyn 10, Arshad 3, and Mia 8. And then just pop them in the chat, or you can unmute. It's 21 after. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. Marion? Very good, Joe Marion. Arshad. Very good, Arshad. Very good, Marlacia. Brooke and Mia, what you got? Okay, So let's see what we have. Good job. So Joe Marion says for number 2, tú te levantas a las 7, which is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Okay. Arshad for number 3 had Wilma combs her hair, and he said Vilma se peina el pelo, right? El pelo. She combs her hair. El pelo. Very good, Arshad. Perfect. Marlecia had number 7. I wash my hands. And so yo me lavo las manos, right? So it's kind of weird in Spanish. They don't say I wash my hands. They say I wash myself the hands is literally what they're saying. The hands, las manos. Okay, it's just a weird thing about Spanish, right? Okay, Mia, you had number 8, right? You wash your face. Tú te lavas la cara. So we have to remember, you guys, lavar is an AR verb. We get rid of the AR and we have to conjugate it. The ending that goes with tú is AS. So lavas. Okay. And then number 10 was Rita brushes her hair. Rita se cepilla el pelo. Okay. Now, if you say, now here's the tricky part. If you say Rita se cepilla, what you're literally saying, okay, or even if you said like Rita se afeita, right? And you leave it at that, or Rita se lava, or yo me lavo, right? What you're literally saying is, for example, Rita is brushing herself, like all of her body, okay? Or if you just said like, tú te lavas, you're washing yourself, the whole body. Okay. So you have to be careful. Like in number 8, you wash your face, right? You have to include la cara. If Rita's brushing her hair, you have to say el pelo, right? Whatever. You have to be specific because you could be saying something really tricky because remember, these are things that we're doing to ourselves, right? So if we're brushing our teeth, then that's what we say. If we're brushing our hair, that's what we say. We can't just leave it at we're brushing ourselves, okay? Because that's weird, right? Everybody see the difference there? It's not understood in Spanish. You have to say what you're washing, what you're brushing, what you're whatever, okay? All right, muy bien, good job. You guys did a good job. Okay. Let's see. All right. A couple of more, and then I'm going to switch gears on you. Okay. But this one is going to add the 2 things together. So pay attention to what I mean. So in that previous slide, we had the verb already done, right? The verb was already done. We just had to add the pronoun or whatever. Well, now you are going to conjugate the verb as well, right? Just like you did. So let's do one more practice. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Arshad. You with me, Arshad? He stepped away. Joe Marion. Joe Marion, you with me? You're going to do number 10. Okay, Joe? Arshad. You are going to do number 7. Okay. Brooklyn. You are going to do number 4. Arshad, be careful here, okay? Because this is a stem changing verb, so you got to be careful. Brooklyn, you got number 4, okay? Marlecia, you have number 2, número 2. And Mia, you have number 6. Okay. Everybody cool? All right, pop it in the chat. This will be the last thing we do together today, so. And then I'll tell you what ask you what I need to ask him. I need the whole sentence, please. The whole sentence. Okay, Joe. So remember, we have to conjugate the verb too, right? We get the say out of the way. The verb will change, right? There you go. There you go. Marleisha, I need the whole sentence, please. Very good, Mia. Rashad, how are you doing? Very good, Arshad. Brooklyn and okay. All right, very good. Brooklyn, did you put yours in? Did I not see yours? All right. So let's see. Marleisha had nosotros and ducharse. And so nosotros nos duchamos. Very good. So we shower ourselves in the evening, right? We take our showers in the evening. Very good. Okay. Brooklyn, you had Ramon. Tú te afeitas todos los días. Ramon, do you shave yourself every day? Yeah. Tú te afeitas. Okay. Mia had 6. Yo me peino en el baño. So I comb myself. I comb my hair in the bath. Número 7, Señora Rivera. We're talking to her. I know that because of my little dashes here. Usted se viste muy bien. Mrs. Rivera, you dress yourself very well. In other words, the way you dress, you know, you're tailored, you're good looking, right? So viste, that's an irregular. Very good, Arshad. And then Jamarian had Miriam y yo. And so Miriam y yo nos maquillamos todos los días. We make up ourselves, right? Every day. We put makeup on ourselves every day. Nos maquillamos. Okay. So here's my last question to you guys. What is the hardest part about any of this for you? No right or wrong answer. What is the hardest thing to remember? What is the hardest part about any of this for you? Pop it in the chat or you can unmute. What's the hardest thing? What's the hardest thing to remember? What's the hardest part? What do you think? Is there a hard part? If it's not hard, then that's what you tell me. What's the hardest part?
Check out Hill's Science Diet at PetSmart. It's formulated for long, healthier lives.
Nothing? Nothing? Okay, well, that's good. That's good. Okay, in the time we have left, which is approximately 7 minutes. Anybody else? What's the hardest part about any of this for you? Is it knowing what they mean? Is it conjugating them? Is it figuring out what's reflexive and what isn't? What is the hardest thing for you? Okay, muy bien. Can you meet me in Canvas, please? Okay, give me a thumbs up when you're there. Okay, Brooklyn. Okay, meet me in Canvas and then take a look at my screen. For desafío 5.2, which is the 5.2, our goal, you guys, was to describe personal hygiene practices, right? And habitual actions, things that we do to ourselves or whatever, those reflexives. So it's Thursday today. We completed the guided notes, so make sure that you have those turned in. Here's the slides that go with those. There's a Quizlet where you can play the games, and there's flashcards if you need to practice. The Googly Eyes is a freebie point. All you got to do is check it out, read the page. Then you are given these 2 VHL practices. And then this one specifically is on reflexive verbs. Okay, now I want you to notice that the reflexive verbs practice is not due until a week from today, but progress reports come out the 12th. Progress reports are the 12th. So if you are missing any work that is due prior to the 12th, then that's what you need to focus on. This reflexive verbs that I just put in is due next week, which is the day after the progress report. But I want to just show you what it looks like. Okay, you will need to open it up. You can cami it. I don't really care one way or another. So define each of the verbs below. These are all verbs that we've seen before. Despertar is up here. Look, you guys, I put it right here in the instructions. Okay, because it's a stem changing verb, but it has the definition as well. So you define each one of them, and then you're going to go through the paragraph and put in, they give it to you in parentheses, and put in the correct thing. So you're going to ask yourself, did I get the say out of the way? Did I conjugate the verb correctly? Did I put the say in the right place? And did I change the say to agree with who? Is it me, te, se, nos, or se? Okay. And then the instructions ask you to translate it. I'm not going to ask you to do that. So don't worry about the translating part. Okay. All right. Any questions about what we're doing? So you have about 3 minutes. Please use it to do some work. Maybe you can start on this. Okay. We are not translating, FYI. We are not translating this. You just need to fill in the chart and then fill in the blanks. Okay. All right. So stay in class, you guys. Be working on something, checking maybe grades to see what you're missing. And then holler if you have a question. Okay, we have about a minute left, so if you have a question, let me know. All right, you guys, that's our time. Nos vemos lunes. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, you guys. Adios. Adios a todos.